everybody. Welcome to a review of the new Dutch cruiser coming to World of Warships on the tech tree. It's the Tier 10 Utrecht. I hope I'm saying that correctly. It's going to be a variant of the De 7 Provincion class cruiser with a dual-purpose main battery, basically meaning the guns can shoot at the airplanes as well as enemy ships. It is a very, very lightweight cruiser with very, very light armament and very light armor. We're going to show you some gameplay. By the way, I'm Aero. I'm a CC for World of Warships on the North American server. Some gameplay. I'll give you some information about how to get this thing. It is a tech tree ship, so ultimately you can get it just by grinding for it. But there's going to be a fear of missing out or FOMO event to try and get you to spend some money for early access. TLDR, I don't recommend doing that ever with early access ships that are tech tree. We'll talk about what this ship is, what it means to the game, show you some gameplay, of course, and upgrades to the hull if you build it, as well as how I went about building the captain for my testing purposes. So what we've got here, looking quickly at the equipment, is a ship that's got HEAP airstrikes, roll-off ASW, a limited speed boost of 8%, relatively rapid loading repair party. The cooldown time on that is only 40 seconds, as built here. It's got tiny guns. They are 128 millimeter guns. They pin 32 millimeters of armor. I'm not running IFHE here, that's base. They have a very high muzzle velocity of 960 meters per second with a range of 17 kilometers base. I did not build for range. And with the build I do have, which does improve the dispersion, the relatively decent dispersion of 140 meters out there at 17 kilometers. Keep in mind that the reload time you see here is as built, and it's actually going to be faster if you built it the same way. The ship has gone from having an initial reload of the main battery at it's right here. Sorry, 1 second. Of 5.2 seconds. As they released the ship to the CCs for their reviews, it was down to 4.8 seconds base, which is what I've been playing here. But it's going to be reduced further according to a dev blog. So they didn't give us the final ship. It's going to be coming down to 4.5 seconds, which is pretty crazy. And it's frustrating because most of us don't want to get ships that are not in their final form. So we don't have to worry about accidentally leaving out a fact like the one I just shared with you. But that's what they've done. They've given us yet another unfinished ship to review, and it's up to us to mention to you the change that's coming. So again, no AR running here, 4.2 seconds. It'll be faster if you built it the same way when the ship is released. There is, as built, 44,350 hit points. Just to underline how ultra light this ship is, it's 56,400 for this PVO. And, round numbers here, 54,000 hit points for the Gudenlu. Again, 44,350 as built here. Really, really a fragile boat. I'm going to show you the armor in a bit. We have AP that has an alpha of 3,100, same speed, meters per second, 960 meters per second as the HE. The alpha on the HE is 1,450, which is pretty pitiful. The airstrike, you get 2 flights, and there are 7 aircraft in the flight. The HP on the aircraft is 2,768. The striking range is 14 kilometers, which is pretty far. But it's a fairly small group of aircraft with a fairly small target reticle. It's more analogous to the Trump than it is to Gudenlu or the PVO. The reload time is very fast, though, and the strike time is faster than the PVO. So these are, in terms of lead, easier to lead, but in terms of coverage area, more difficult because it is smaller. Only 5 bombs in the payload. I really found that the damage was pretty anemic. Occasionally, there would be the odd ship that you did a bunch of damage to, but it was pretty rare. 5,800 is the maximum bomb damage, as you can see there, and the chances of causing a fire while looking like they're a whopping 35%. I didn't find this thing was an inferno maker whatsoever. That may be just an aero skill issue. Again, we've got depth charges that roll off, making them essentially unusable. There's no hydro on the ship. The AA, as I built here, is rated at 96, but boy, I think I mentioned this elsewhere in the video, but tier 10 CVs can absolutely own you. This does not do you any good whatsoever. You kind of have some protection against tier 8 CVs, but that's about it. Maneuverability-wise, I was tempted actually to look at rudder shift or considering an upgrade for propulsion mod. We could talk about the upgrades later, but because this is an airstrike ship, I went with airstrike. I found it not to be a very maneuverable step, kind of ungainly, and it would have benefited from either a rudder shift boost or a acceleration mod. As built, double conceal, we're down at 9.8 kilometers. That is relatively good considering the range on the guns and considering the 14 kilometers of airstrike. But if you get spotted by things with big guns or even powerful gunboat destroyers, you are going to be in for a world of hurt in this thing. We'll show you some gameplay, and then we will go over the captain's build and the ship upgrades and how to get it, and then I'll wrap up with my my final thoughts at the end. Okay, let's start out with the gameplay with a hilariously short battle. This was literally my first game in this ship, in the Utrecht. Notice the timer on the screen. I put it there so you could see how long this clip lasts, which is all of 1 minute. When it began, I was at 100% health, absolutely full health. I'm up on an island. Admittedly, I overshot the tip of it here. Now at about half health, now at about a third health. It's 23 seconds to go. I had slipped up and shot at that destroyer, and then basically all hell broke loose. As I said, this is my first game in the ship, and I am dead. I am dead once the shooting started in 50 seconds. So when I talk about how fragile this thing is elsewhere, that's one of the reasons why. Here's some highlights of a later game I had. I was a little bit more effective and lasted quite a bit longer, as you can tell from the clock on screen there in the upper right-hand corner. The games were actually kind of a mix. Some of them were wins and some of them were losses. Some of them I survived, but most of them I think I died in. I mean, part of that is getting used to the ship, obviously, but I think to a large extent, it's how fragile the ship is. If things go badly for your team, and suddenly there's nowhere for you to hide, especially if there are destroyers still on the other team and you don't have destroyers on your team, or even worse, there's aircraft carriers in the game. You're gonna get nailed, and you don't have the ability to tank it. You just don't have the ability to tank, despite having the heal. I think I comment elsewhere in the video a little cynically that Wargaming described this thing as an open water ship operating at medium to longer ranges. Actually, in this game, instead of hugging an island and hiding, I'm doing quite a bit of that. I'm driving around. I'm at medium to long ranges, and at least vis-a-vis the range of the airstrikes. and I'm driving around in open water. I mean, I really could not be effective at this point, it seemed, by being up on the back of that island, although I had been there earlier in this game, in fact. I just cut that part of it out. Turns out there's a community member that knew me playing on the opposite team. Very nice guy. Just saying hello to him. This is not being streamed, so nobody could watch this because the ship is under NDA as this video is being produced. So this person just knew me in game. If you look at the damage here, I'm also speeding up segments where things are a little bit boring. But if you're looking at the damage, it's not going to be very high. This game and the next, it's in like the 90 to 100K range. Also, I found that the HE, while it did start some fires, was pretty anemic. Look at what I'm doing to this Holland. It's actually interesting because the gun's velocity is so fast. It's something that requires some getting used to aim with guns that are essentially that good and that accurate. But by the same token, even when you do aim correctly, the HE just doesn't deliver the alpha that's really necessary at tier 10, whether it's against destroyers or other ships of a larger class. At least that was my experience playing the ship. And again, you're so squishy, as soon as you're spotted, somebody wants to take a shot at you, you just take massive amounts of damage. You don't have hydro, so torpedoes are a constant threat, as are submarines, and you have roll-off ASW. Despite the demo at the beginning of the ASW destroying a non-moving submarine sitting on the surface, that's not the way you're supposed to play the ASW in the ship. Although, obviously, if that opportunity presents itself, you should take it. That was literally just in the opening to hopefully make folks laugh. I found that the consistency of getting fires or any pen damage on battleships was sorely lacking. It really makes the utility of the ship very low, relatively speaking. It's just so situational. You can't depend on it. Gudenglu and the PVO, I think, are so much better all-rounders with this kind of play style. They have, it seems to me, better AA. Tier 10 CVs basically had their way with me anytime they came by. I did a little better against Tier 8 CVs, but still. Now, here the guns are lighting some fires. They occasionally did, but you didn't get much in the way of real alpha damage unless you got a nice squishy broadside like this for an extended period of time. And then the AP came back, or even the HE came back, and my gosh, the punishment begins. Watch this interaction with a Holland. Now, I'm pretty low here, but this Holland's coming right at me, bow in. And it's just gunning for me. Something else shoots me. But look at the shells I'm landing on the Holland and the lack of real damage I'm doing. Maybe he's damage saturated, but yeah. I was really disappointed that I didn't do more to the Holland there. Despite my performance in this ship, not being a light cruiser main or even very regular player on this defeat. So here's 94,000 in damage. We got 2 fires out of the battle. 50 bombs landed. 50 bombs landed, and I believe the fires came from the guns. Did shoot down 13 airplanes. Landed 62 shells. Came in second on this team. I didn't feel like I contributed very much of it at all. Most of the work was done, sadly, to my community member in the conch, which seemed to be equipped with a superstructure that was most susceptible to the damage. There was actually the fires on that conch, but I believe they came from the guns. All right, one last battle. I'm afraid I'm going to spoil this one. It's another loss. This one with a bit more damage. Get to see the AP in action in this one, as well as a really concentrated look at the performance of the airstrikes on a variety of tier 10 targets. There's double fire right there. No doubt about it. That's good performance, even though the alpha damage is 10,000, roughly speaking. I think there was a little bit of damage I had already built up before that happened. This cruiser popping out, I had first expected to pop out broadside, so I started with the AP and had stuck with it far too long. But these are supposed to be, what, German-style guns, right? So I wanted to see what would happen when the ship was angled, and pretty much nothing happened with the guns. I switched to the HE here and started doing a little bit more work. I believe I get a fire here. Yeah, there's a fire. So there's that. That's basically doubled the amount of damage I've got 5 minutes into this battle. Now, in this case, I am hugging the infamous Thunderdome. I'm on one side of the Thunderdome on the map, trying to stay close, trying to stay engaged here and be useful. This is an arms race battle, so some of the numbers are going to be a bit distorted in terms of damage and reload and health and stuff like that. But it's still representative of this ship, and especially when you see all the different airstrike opportunities I get. I've got a Schlieffen sitting here right over the other side of the wall from me. And I'm thinking, well, this is a pretty ideal situation. I can do plenty of farming on the Schlieffen. And, I start this at about 20,000 in damage. I get a fire. 4 of those are pens. The interesting thing is you do get these reloads pretty quickly, not just in arms race of the airstrike. So, you're roughly sitting around 30 seconds. So you can go back and restrike if, the target is spotted. Well, here's another fire. But not a lot of real damage. They were able to DCP. Trying to figure out whether they're backing up or not. Yeah, it looks like they're going to be backing up. So let's lead slightly because it's going to take a while to begin backing up. We've got our second salvo actually already here. I mean, if this was Guden or PVO even, those would be doing much more damage, I think. Even Trump conceivably would be getting better fires, although I don't remember the fire chance off the top of my head. So I've just dropped, and yeah, very disappointing. The ship looks pretty small here. I don't know if it looks that way to you. But in that training room earlier, I was driving around some Imperial Japanese Navy aircraft carriers, and they were physically about the same size. Oh, the emote there is basically silencing the in-game chat because there's some stuff in there that was inappropriate to put in the video. There we go. Schlieffen's back. My punching bag. Just a reminder, these airplanes do find themselves subjected to damage from AA, so that can diminish your ability to get a strike in. Sometimes it seems like they don't, because they're AI or a consumable kind of a thing. But no, they do get shot down, and it does reduce your ability to get an alpha strike in. And presumably, it never feels like on the receiving ends, but presumably it minimizes the damage you take. So submarines been spotted in front of me, but there's also a Smolensk out there in smoke. I would love to drop on somebody camping in smoke and shooting, but there's another target here a little closer that's spotted. So we try the Schlieffen again. Again, look at our damage. We're sitting here at 48,000. How many times have we struck this poor Schlieffen, who's literally on the other side of the wall from me? There's some more penetrations. That takes us up to 56,000. But still, I find that pretty anemic. And, you know, the reason I say this is that the timeliness of this video relates to whether or not you should spend any resources to get this thing in early access. Having it in your port is maybe a nice thing if you like collecting ships or you want the Dutch line for sentimental reasons. But to rush out and spend any money on it, given the nature of the fragility of the ship and its ability to perform and deliver damage, kind of undermines any argument for being in a hurry to get it when you could just get it for free. And her sister ships lower on the tech tree line. Schlieffen is still apparently very much alive, I think. My team, however, is not. There is going to be a chance here to take a good hard look at, there's my friend the Schlieffen. I mean, seriously, how many times have I dropped on him? Up in front of me, I've got this submarine beginning to stalk. I've got a lot of red problems surrounding me. Submarine spotted, but so's the Smolensk. I quickly shift to the AP because sure enough, it looks like he's going to go broadside. And I start getting some citadels here pretty quickly. I'm thinking this guy is going to melt. Look at the reload. I mean, I'm not aiming perfectly, but I'm aiming well enough at center of mass. This thing should be just evaporating, and yet it's not. He begins to angle to me, and I can't get through and finish him. I know I'm hitting around the deck joins and all that, but the dispersion is such that there's plenty of shells going in. I think he should have died much faster than that. Nonetheless, it takes me over 100K. It's about 40-some thousand in damage. I dodged the salvo from the submarine and managed to survive this. Not a great performance. I blame me and I blame the ship. I think overall, it's really pretty mediocre and definitely worth free. Not something as we look at the performance here that's worth spending any hard-earned cash on. $121 target hits, some overpens, 40 ricochets, I think it said. You know, not the biggest piece of produce in the store. Yeah, 45K to the Smolensk, 35K only to the Schlieffen. Two fires, hit him with 30 bombs for less than 30,000 damage. There's the Worcester did nearly 20K too. So, yeah, that's some gameplay samples. Not a high level of utility, I would say. Okay, let's look at the armor. It won't take long. There isn't much of it. 16 millimeters on the bow. Little strip of 50 here, there, 90 there, 50 there, 16, 13, 16, 20. Excuse me, I'm getting over being sick, as I probably have mentioned elsewhere in this video. Not sure. I apologize for being a bit noisier than I would be otherwise. I don't think I've ever seen an armored rudder before. Also, the interface just really does not seem to want to be working here. Have we seen armored rudders before? There. Interesting. Huh. Chat, let me know. I don't recall seeing armor on a rudder before. Well, that's also interesting. Look at this. Look at the spaces there. Look at the spaces there. Oh, all right. 50, 50, 50. This thing will absolutely take citadels. Excuse me, there's our water line. If you're shooting at this, anywhere from the forwardmost gun mount all the way back at the water line and down, certainly right in here, this is going to be a sweet spot. But what is this little bit of structure? It's got a tiny bit of armor. But yeah, pretty much anything you're going to be facing. This is a tier 10 ship. We're going to be seeing tier 11, tier 10, and tier 9. And tier 8, actually. You know, heavy cruisers, battleships, even some of the gunboat destroyers will probably tear you to pieces. So be very, very, very careful. I think this thing needs to hide. It needs to find div mates with smoke and pray for no radar or long-range hydro because it's going to get the absolute poop shot out of it. Just for a quick comparison, again, we're looking at 16, 50 millimeters here. Let's compare to the brand new PVO, Prince Van Orange. 25, 40, 25, 30, 30, 40, 225. Like this, there's just nothing here. Even the Golden Lou. Look at how much beefier this is. Icebreaker, 40 millimeter icebreaker bow, 25 millimeters on the deck, 30 on the deck, 30 on the deck, 25 up here on the PVO, and then again the Utrecht. I know that it's a light cruiser. My point is that this thing, if it gets seen by anything at all with decent guns, is going to absolutely get shredded. Aircraft carriers, the Trump destroyer that has airstrikes, the Golden Lou, etc. It's just going to get shot to pieces. This thing is absolutely a glass cannon. So the idea of being an open water boat where, again, reading from the notes in the original announcement blog, in battle, these ships thrive at middle to long range, using their main battery and airstrikes to harass heavy ships. Good concealment and engine boosts allow for quick attacks from advantageous positions and an easy return to stealth when enemy fire becomes too intense. It's It's not the way I see you surviving very often in this ship when we're talking about the armor and survivability. This is the sort of thing that really does need to hide quite a bit, find terrain to hide in my view, and even smoke where possible and appropriate. It is not going to be an open water gunboat that is going to suddenly pop up, because if anybody with anything other than a fly swatter gets a salvo off on you, you take very heavy damage, and it's pretty ugly. And God forbid there's aircraft in the game or submarines, because of course you don't have much in the way of a counter to the spotting from those. Um, we'll talk about, well, let's look at it real quickly. The AA defense is rated at 96 here. I found it was pretty useless against tier 10 CVs. It kind of worked against tier 8 CVs, but yeah, this is a fragile boat. Okay, let's take a look at the captain's build and the ship upgrades. And keep in mind, this is just the way I built it for testing. Your mileage may vary. Don't take what I'm showing you here as gospel. Absolutely build the ship, build any ship to your playstyle and your preferences. Uh, do not feel in any way, shape, or form that I'm claiming to offer you the right build for the Utrecht. Not only did I have very little time to have the ship and experiment with it to really get a sense of what the right way to build it is. As I always like to remind folks when we're looking at these light cruiser videos and light cruiser ship reviews, I am not a light cruiser specialist. I mostly play destroyers and battleships. So, I don't bring to the table the same sort of eye and expertise. I play them enough to know my way around, but I don't bring to the table the specialist skills of somebody who loves to play Minotaur, Edgar, Austin, Atlanta. The list goes on and on. So just keep that in mind. So starting with the captain, here's how I built it. This is a rental captain. There is a specialty captain coming that's going to be somewhat obscene with these airstrike ships, because there's going to be a skill. Hold on here. Let me read it to you. If you get 50 bomb hits with the Dutch captain when he comes, he will be called Conrad Helfrich, and you'll be able, after 50 bomb hits, to add an airstrike charge and 3 squadron aircraft on deck, which is pretty crazy. And if you already have earned a Witherer, you will get a 10% reduction in the time of your main battery reload and a 15% airstrike reload time buff. And there are some other things that come with that as well. But this is not a video about that captain. I just want you to keep that in mind, that if you do want this ship, that captain is coming. And it's going to change some of the calculus that you might have for how you build it. So what I did is I put incoming fire alert on, because this thing is incredibly fragile, as we've talked about, and it might keep you alive or minimize your damage. I then went with focus fire training, which gets us a 10% reduction in aircraft prep time. It improves also the AA slightly. Sorry, I misspoke. It gets the airstrike armament reload time improved by 15%, not the aircraft prep time. I don't think those are the same. I'm not seeing them listed as modified here. And in fact, this might be for something else. Let me know in chat if you think I am hallucinating here. Anyway, then survivability expert, because this thing definitely needs survivability. We only have 44,350 hit points with this build. Concealment, because that is life. RDF, because that obviously helps you know where torpedoes might be coming from or where a destroyer might be hiding. Or if you have no spotting on your team, something big and nasty coming around a mountain or an island could be coming. This has actually saved my bacon, as may have been shown in the gameplay video earlier in the game, where there was a Cassard stalking me, and I knew where the torps would be coming from, so I could bait them into sending their torpedoes and then turning when they were already in the water and avoiding them. AR, because it's just such a good skill. And then these were sort of just throwaway 1% additional fire chance. And then, of course, some action time increase on the speed boost on this one. Yeah, none of the boosts are actually showing because it's not built here. So there's no increase in the any of these qualities, as you can see. So I believe that this is benefiting my airstrike. I'm not seeing it on the display there. So that's the captain. Your mileage may vary. And then on the equipment, I went with main armaments mod 1. I went with damage control mod 1. Keep things in one piece. I went with increased accuracy, aiming systems mod 1. Accuracy was not the gun's issue. At 17 kilometers with this build, we've got 140 meters of dispersion. There was something weird about aiming, probably an arrow problem or a skill issue, but maybe it was just the fact that I wasn't expecting the incredibly high initial velocity to make it relatively easy to aim. So I was aiming as if I had to lead more. But I did go with aiming mod systems 1 here. Of course, this is an airstrike ship, so definitely went with airstrike mod 1. That gets the reload time down, that gets the HP on the aircraft up, that gets step charge damage, which I never had a chance to use. Their roll-off depth charges up a little bit. Concealment again. And then main battery mod 3 went with reload here. Reminder, everybody, they did not give us a finished ship to test. None of the CCs got a finished ship to test. This ship and 4.2 seconds of reload is based on the version that they loaned us. But according to the dev blog, the base reload on release is going to go from 4.8 seconds to 4.5 seconds. So this thing is going to get even faster reload when it comes out. The fire chance there at 9%, not amazing. I got some fires with my guns and HE. The 32 millimeters of pen is nice to have, but I really did not find that this thing dealt that much damage. Again, that's probably an aero skill issue more than anything else, but that's how I build it. And when I was testing it, I just took these flags. This is more survivability expert, basically. Tried to get more fires from the bombs as well as the HE. Tried to boost my health a little bit. And then AA, trying to give myself some life. Because as I feared, when there were CVs in the game, it really made my life very, very, very difficult. Okay, so how do you end up getting the Tier 10 Dutch ultralight cruiser Utrecht in the early access event? Again, if you want to listen to my advice, don't get it in the early access event. Absolutely do not spend any resources. If you can get it for free, great. But if it takes any cash out of your pocket, I would say no, don't do it. The process coming in the patch where it's available is going to be something to do with 70 progress tokens earned. It's probably going to be pretty hard to get those 70 progress tokens for free. The description that we've been provided is that tokens are earned, which is a very strange term, earned through purchased random bundles. So you're not earning them, you're buying them. Oh, look at this strange world we're sailing into. It's a very strange world of toxicity. We're just in a training room. I just thought it'd be fun to look at these ships. So you have to buy. Tokens are earned through each purchase random bundle. So purchase means buy, as well as through a combat mission chain that can be completed with early access ships and will automatically advance players across the progress bar. That's from the information that Wargaming has provided to us CCs. So basically, like every other FOMO, fear of missing out, early access event, they're going to try to get you to spend money, and there'll be some little tidbit of a token that you can earn to get you partway there for free during the actual gameplay of the event. But it's a tech tree ship. You could just grind it and get it for free, and frankly, it's just not that special. I mean, that's my take on it. This thing is not that special a ship whatsoever. There's nothing worth spending money on in this ship, especially because it is a tech tree ship. It's surprisingly big. This is I think this is the tier 11 Japanese, super carrier. That does not seem like the right scaling, chat. Am I right? Yeah, this is the super carrier. How could this cruiser be that big? Can we do any damage to its deck? What do you think, chat? Probably not. $1,914, but it did start a fire. Look at this. Is this not just the most toxic shipyard you have ever seen in your life? So getting back to my point, it's a tech tree ship. They're going to all be tech tree ships coming out. They're going to be free. Why spend the resources other than credits to get them? I don't see it. It's super, super, super fragile. Wow. Okay. That's an argument right there. It has roll-off depth charges, chat. So generally speaking, they're going to be useless. But dev striking that submarine? Maybe I've just made the point. Maybe I have just made my own point. That was kind of sexy. Wait. I can't do it. I'm getting over being sick. I don't know, chat. What do you think? Are you the kind of person that regularly does one of these early access events? So that's... Oh, this is fun. This is the best game mode ever. This is the best game mode ever, chat. This is the best game mode ever. Oh my God. Sorry. That's hilarious. Let us not let this guy get away. I did not expect this, chat. I was just trying to sail around to have some fun. And I picked these types of ships because I think adding more airstrike aircraft is a real thumb in the nose to the player base. I don't think anybody's been asking for more airplanes in World of Warships. Well, that's not true. There are going to be some, but I think the majority of the players are pretty done with CVs and airstrikes. I really don't think that this is what the community has been wanting, and I don't understand why this line is here. I mean, the Netherlands and the Dutch deserve their own ships, don't get me wrong, but adding this number of aircraft to the game, I don't think is healthy or desired by the majority of the player base. It's kind of poisoning the well even more. If anybody was to ask me, but they never do. There's 2 submarines left, one which is spotted. I think we've gotten every single one in a single strike. The CV's no damage at all, though. The music's hilarious. I don't know if I'll be including it in the... No damage. No damage at all. Where's the last submarine, my friends? Where's the last submarine? We can find him with RDF if I kill all the CVs, but I don't think that's going to happen. So yeah, let's instant fire, by the way, extinguishing, because, you know, why not? Ah, found the submarine. What are you doing out there? You're going to catch cold. I have a way to warm you up. Are we going to get 100% sync rate, chat? What do you think? Is this the dumbest way to end a video ever? Come on, 100%. Every single one we've struck, dev struck basically. Yep, that's crazy. Oh, and the dual fires are already out. Not a protected class. All right, well, instant fire, extinguishing. Oh my God, this is such an insane design choice. And it's out again. It's out again. By the way, I never saw fire like this when I was playing it in random battle, so. All right, chat, that's it. Thanks for watching. If I've earned it, please leave a like. Please drop a subscription if you'd like more. And if you really think I've earned it, I'd very much appreciate a comment. And perhaps considering clicking that link to join my squadron, by buying me a cup of coffee, maybe some lunch. Is a coffee worth it just for seeing me sink all these submarines and CVs? Obviously, we'll find out. But there'll be more videos like this in the future. There's music videos coming. My song about Tiger 59. I hope 2025 is incredibly kind to all of you, bringing you and your family all the good stuff, health and prosperity, health most importantly, and peace. Do take care, my friends, and remember to be kind to people. All we got are the living years. As Mike and the Mechanics once said.